Thank you so much, Ayushi, for having me on your podcast. Nothing better than getting, you know, be on a podcast interviewed by the youngest, one of the youngest, I think, podcasters you are, right? So thank you so much for having me. And I'm so excited uh, to be a part of this journey. And I hope people enjoy whatever conversations we are having on this sector. So, of course, people who are following me already know me, but yes, people who don't know me. So, did logistic happen to me suddenly? I would say road transportation, right? Because I'm into road transportation. No, it was, I think, somewhere there in genes, but वो बाहर खुल के नहीं आया था. So a little bit about myself. I did my post graduation from IES. And post that, I had actually majored in marketing, and I was immediately recruited by a financial selling company, Financial Technologies, internally moved to multi commodity exchange. From there, I worked with KPMG, then ENY. Then I realized I'm a very people person. And what am I doing in financial selling? What am I doing as a knowledge manager? Then a friend suggested me, why don't you try media sales? I got into media sales. I worked for companies like Meow FM, National Geographic, internally moved to Star Movies, and last was Bloomberg UTV before I joined my father's business. So I think I had really experienced a vast difference in every era. Like when I was in financial selling, it was completely different. When it was about being a knowledge manager at KPMG and ENY, that was very different. When I worked for media sales, that was very different, challenging. It was target driven. It was something which I, of course, loved. So I think I loved all the roles. All my roles, I had a mentor, to be honest, because I think life just becomes easier when you have a mentor. How did logistic road transportation come to me? So my company is called Reema Transport. I was five. It was founded by my father. He has a partner, Dilip Naik. My father's name is Ashok Kothari. And when I finished my post graduation, he never questioned me if I was going to join him. But he had somewhere in mind subtly asked me, so now what is your plan? I said, Papa, I've been recruited by college and I think I want to take it forward or dekhte hai aage. Then when I finished Bloomberg UTV and I think I was challenged enough and I wanted to do something more challenging, right? Because sales itne time se kar liya tha. So I said nothing better than joining up. And at that point of time, I think it was a journey around 14, 15 years back. It was a very male oriented industry. So I said nothing better than getting more challenging yourself and nothing better than working for your own tax company, right? So I told my father that I'm planning to join you. Is it okay? Because I really need to push. I really need to learn. I think, and I had come with certain skills which I have, you know, got knowledge of from my past experience, which I can bring on table. So he said, yeah, sure. And that sure was very subtle. Sure, matlab, हाँ, तू आ सकती है. But of course, there were a lot of underlying things which were not even told to me, right? So he just told me one thing, please understand you're coming there as an employee, you're not coming there as a director. And I think that is apt. So as much as people say, wow, you have your dad's business and you've got it at a platter, no, it's not that easy. In fact, when you're working with your father, you have to prove your mettle at every point of your stage of your life, right? You have to work more hard. You have to, it's just not easy. So, yes, that's about me. That's how I started with road transportation. That's how I joined Prima Transport.
That is so beautiful, and I feel your journey is so inspiring. You had the option of joining it right away, but you chose to experiment, learn, try different sectors. And then, when you felt like you were made for your own company, you were like, hey, I'm gonna join it now. And
That's true.
I must say, it takes a lot of courage for a woman, especially some years back, where it was even more male dominated, to join a transport company. And something that I understand after working a few months now is that transport sector is something where credibility is built on ground. with drivers, customers, fleet operators, mechanics, and suppliers. So, how did you earn that credibility?
So, Ayushi, I think this is something which is very important. So the thing which I told you earlier, that had these underlying things, um, I think you have to work with people when you join. And that is something which I learned in my journey when I worked outside. Of course, there things were given to me at a platter. If I had to remove, if I needed a Xerox, the Xerox would, papers would come to me in my hand.
Yeah.
When I joined my dad's company, it was not that easy. Even to remove a Xerox, I had to go. I had to remove Xerox, and I had to learn, and in every department. Of course, I reached the drivers, the Sarthis at a later stage, only when I was ready, because you know, आप अगर रेडी नहीं हो इंडस्ट्री के लिए और आप जाके चीजें बोलोगे, वो तो पहले बोलेंगे इनको कुछ मालूम ही नहीं है क्या बात कर रहे हैं,
True.
you know. And we are into cold chain pharma. We actually carry pharmaceutical products. 80% of my business is that. We are into refer cold chain pharma. We cater only to West and South India. Okay. And so we are more compliant driven. So so it's been almost around 3 decades that we've been doing this. Before that, we were into FTL, that's full truckload, and PTL, part truckload, parcel truckload. Right. So at that point of time, जब मैंने join किया था, cold chain was already like there were hardly any players. Okay. And so I, of course, started with sitting with the booking office people,
Mm.
filling few LRs, making
Yeah.
memos. Then, of course, slowly, I started getting into operations. Then I started looking at maintenance. Then, what I figured out, then, of course, I did a part of billing to understand how billing happens. I started looking at opportunities where there were gaps. Okay, so I realized technology was a little gap at that point of time in my organization.
Yeah.
And um, and also when people are already working in an ecosystem which has been built over years, they don't like someone coming and commanding to them, right? They
True.
don't, yeah. So one, I had to work with them. Second, I could, I had to make small changes,
True.
identifying them and make small changes. So, yes, so working with people and making them, don't threaten them. I think that was very important. I basically had to keep telling them, you're as much as what you are. And also something which, I have realized they were my gurus at that point of time. Whichever team you work for,
Yeah.
they are your gurus because they know much more than you know. Because I was new to
Yes.
the sector. So I said, I'm here to learn from you all.
Yeah.
And when I even if I had to make some changes, I said, hum aise kar lenge, it'll be easier. So there
Yeah.
was something which we didn't have, which was like a vehicle checklist we have now. Before loading a vehicle, we check the whole vehicle, whether it's fine, the papers are there, and then the driver signs there, then the fleet maintenance head will sign, and
Yeah.
then one of the top management people will sign. And it
True.
is done daily, whichever vehicles are going for loading to ensure there is no seepage, there is no problem, the refer system is working, the vehicle is completely fit to travel. It is extremely clean. So that was something which I also learned from my clients, to be honest, when they used to come and audit us and the kind of questions which they used to ask. That was a need of an hour. Then I actually spoke about technology some time back. I realized that we khali GPS tha, which of course in the due course of my conversation with you, you will come back asking me certain questions. So I should leave that on you.
Yeah. But that's such an amazing journey that you described because I feel the biggest issue to acceptance of a new person is the threat. They'll take away my job or I might get fired because of them or some or the other. And you being the daughter of the company owner makes it even harder. And at the same time, I feel people have that notion that she just got it as a gift, she just got the privilege of being a part of here. While we had to interview, we are paid a specific salary. So you have to work way more harder to just prove your worth. How was that journey, especially in the starting years?
I think that was very tough, to be honest, because one, So there were simultaneous things, right? One is working with people, ensuring that I'm not a threat to you all. I'm here to work and make your life simpler. I'm just one of the person who's going to, we both will hold hands and work together, right? And at that point of time, we had a lot of women in back office, okay, where they went to billing and accounts, but there were not many women in operations. So that was also a big gray area, right? वहां पे already heads थे and they had their own mindset of working, to making them to change. And if you talk to people, they will say initially road transportation were very rash in talking to the sarthis or drivers or anyone, and deliveries ka bhi update, everything used to happen on phone till GPS came into picture, which during my time it had already come into picture.
Yes.
But how to use, how to geofence, वो सब किसी को मालूम नहीं था. तो वो भी सडन चेंज मेरे लिए बहुत चैलेंजिंग था कि धीरे धीरे मुझे उनको सिखाना था. लाइक
Yeah.
ये कर लेते, ये अच्छा रहेगा, ये अच्छा रहेगा. I had to do it very positively and very tactfully, which actually, which I got from my journey where I worked outside. Sales taught me how to deal with people. KPMG taught me how to talk to, seniors. Uh, Financial selling taught me, which was not my comfort zone, how to get into a comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I think everything wherever I work taught me something, right? And with my dad and his partner, they already have a mindset. So I will say they are conservative, progressive. They are progressive, but they're conservative because they have certain things the way they want to implement. So even there, when I had to keep proving and keep telling them that this will add value,
Yeah.
let's do this. Maybe not immediately, maybe after some time when you all feel, but let's do this, it'll make our life better. Because at that point of time, they used to even get threatened, अगर ये आदमी छोड़ के चला जाएगा तो पूरा सिस्टम नीचे आएगा. ऐसा नहीं है. Today, anyone can be replaced. Even I can be replaced. All of us can be replaced. So ऐसा नहीं है that there's no one to fill the gaps or shoes, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of a thing, that mindset to change was a little challenging. To get the right kind of people also at that point of time, because you work with either they may be graduates or 12th past or not even graduates. So to work with them, but they are expert. Let me tell you, they are expert at what they are doing.
Yeah.
They are more expert than what you are doing, honestly.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I think no work is a dull work. Every work, everyone has the expertise. And my dad is, of course, a completely finance person, which is not
Yeah.
my forte, which he always wished I had, but I was a very people's person. So,
Yeah.
which my dad's partner is. So, of
Uh-huh.
course, it's a very beautiful way. And we also have another, uh, Dilip Bhai's daughters also joined. So,
Mhm.
we all look at business development, we look at compliance, operations, uh, sometimes a part of finance. So, it's
Yeah.
beautiful, yeah. But it is challenging at many point of time when you have to really, you know, tell
Make
them
things
that this is
work.
going to benefit.
Mhm.
That shift
Yeah.
happens gradually. I'll
True.
say it will happen. I'm not saying it does not happen. It happens,
Yeah.
but it takes some time.
Definitely. And I feel they are so stuck in doing things a certain way. One,
Correct.
two, three, four, five. Even if
That's
you
right.
teach them ki ye step say it can go one to five, they'll feel that sense of I'll have to learn something new, which might
That's true.
cause an imbalance, at least for the few days. And there's nothing wrong in feeling that way as well, because they have been subjected to a way of functioning, which if a newbie comes and disrupts, they're going to feel threatened, as we just discussed. But at the same time, I feel over the time, once they feel ki, ha, ma'am, whatever she said actually made so much sense now, and she's here for our good, then why not? Once that
Yes.
feeling comes, yeah.
So, with people, yes. Um, so, like I also mentioned earlier, when it came to talking to drivers, it was at a much later stage when I understood the business and I used to. So, there's something which I learned from people and
Mm-hmm.
also dad and his partner, which was I think it was always about, and which I already had. I always had a lot of empathy, to be honest. So when you have empathy and when you also listen to them,
Yeah.
they automatically start listening to you. When you give them respect, is there something which beautiful, which Reema Transport has been doing? We celebrate. Actually, a lot of organizations now celebrate 17th September as Drivers Day. We celebrate a week. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And there are few implementations which our company did, which was Chalak se Malak scheme, which is where your driver becomes a Malak of a vehicle. But we, instead of selling the vehicle outside, we would sell it to a Sarthi, to a driver.
Yeah.
And we would tell him, we would let him know the market rate, and we'll tell him that ye आप ले सकते हो, and we will give you a loan which will be
Yeah.
interest free. So you pay. So what happens, and then he would attach that same vehicle with us. So
Yeah.
there's an income going on, and he
True.
becomes a Malak. So a lot of things which were already in place were beautiful, right? I just had to ensure that SOPs are met in place, few technology changes are implemented, and there was a system which was followed. And when we get audited, like I said earlier, so how do we do it that the life becomes easier? So honestly, जब मैंने join किया था, it was only GPS. Then we realized the need of an hour was to get temperature sensors in place. So we got temperature sensors in place, and then got. So first you have to learn honestly, because I don't come from a tech background, honestly,
Yeah.
right? So I had to learn. I then had to get my people to get trained, right?
Yeah. True.
And work with them. And then we both kind of discuss, हाँ ये कितना अभी better हो गया है, so much better. Now we can track what is the temperature. Now we can track where the vehicle is. Oh, you can geofence that the driver's not derouting and it's going in the same route, which all places he has to go. There's no diversion. So yes, they then started realizing, then they realized the importance of why the checklist is made.
Yeah.
So then they start realizing that I'm not a threat. And so small implementations kind of
Yeah.
made my life simpler. Yeah.
And that's actually so beautiful that actual implementations led to acceptance from them.
Yes.
And I feel that over the time, the drivers have started to feel a little bit disrespected, at least in some or the other aspects. So, my current task in my job role is to speak to drivers and understand where is the issue. Is our manager not treating them well? Are they not doing anything? Are they doing favoritism, some or the other feelings of the drivers? And with all honesty, I have spoken to over 500 drivers now, and one thing I've understood is they just want to be heard. They actually are not even looking for a solution. They're like, अरे मैम आप हमारी बात सुन रहे हो, वो एक बहुत बड़ी बात है. That's the bare minimum that they're expecting. And I feel that shows how much work we really need to do to make them feel better. Because
I will
this,
actually, sorry, I'm going to just say something which, something just came to my mind, and
yeah,
which I've also actually spoken elsewhere. But when they are heard, when you
yeah,
show you have empathy, when you show, so there has to be a right balance, Ayushi, in life. You can't be very strict with them. You can't be very easygoing also. And
true,
especially when we are carrying life-saving drugs, it's very, very important that
definitely.
because they have to continuously get trained, right?
Yeah,
So when they get trained, and if they do a mistake, that medicine which is going to be exported, which is going to be distributed internally, can actually
yeah,
it can be a big mishap, right?
true.
If the temperatures are maintained. So आपको वो लाइन मालूम होना चाहिए, कहाँ ढील देना है, कहाँ नहीं देना है.
नहीं
At the
देना है,
same
true.
time, have empathy for them, talk to them nicely. So one of
Yeah,
my Sarthis actually, we keep applying when there are any opportunities where drivers are getting awards or
yeah.
recognition. And I nominated few of my drivers, and one of them actually got selected.
One,
Yeah, and in top three. And I said, let's celebrate him in front of everyone.
true.
And he was so conscious.
Yeah.
And it's like small चीजें उन्हें फर्क पड़ती
Yeah.
है. Very small things, right? So everyone clapped and congratulated him, and then we gave him what it was actually virtually they had sent something, so we had to give it. So we gave that, and then from our side also we gave him some small incentive. And Papa नीचे थे, and Papa just happened to give him like a small token, and everyone went and he came. And he just looked, and he's been working with us for many years now. Ma'am, हमारी company का नाम अच्छा हो गया. And that like just shook me.
Yeah,
That if they take you as a family,
true.
what is the where is the gap?
Yeah,
So of course, I'm not saying all of them would be thinking similar, but if you give them the sense that you're working for a family and you are a part of the ecosystem,
yeah,
you are not looked down on, you know,
yeah.
the dynamics change. These are small changes everyone needs to get in their life. And I would not say this only for drivers, even for the people who come to our house and help. Small
True.
gratitudes make a lot of difference.
Definitely. And that is actually one very beautiful quality that I've seen in drivers and house helps, that they have a sense of loyalty, a sense of connectedness which they feel. And if we really treat them well, they'll stick by you for, say, 10, 20 years also, which is so rare.
That's
And
true.
I feel it's important. Like, as you said, not everyone is going to be the same, but I think it's our job to treat everyone same. So the best ones at least stick by, you
That's
know?
true. So I just because you sorry because I cut you.
Yeah.
You were saying so you spoke to like 500 drivers
Yeah.
and you felt that they just had to be heard.
Yeah.
And what was more like, you know, what was your
The idea.
experience like?
It was actually the first task of my internship. So I came back to India some months back, and this was the first task. So it was like, in order to understand them at the ground level, you're gonna do two things. You're gonna try as much as you can go on field, which is quite far. So I try to go at least twice a week. And sometimes I'm able to meet more drivers. Their task is so, I would say, dynamic, that it's even hard to keep them stuck in one position. Now, if I want to interview them, I'll have to make them sit with me for half an hour, and they'll be like, "Ma'am, hamara time ja raha hai." So I try that I'm able to take some time out for them, and mostly I conducted phone interviews. So when I spoke to them, our idea was pretty simple. Firstly, we understand what they care about. Is it the salary that's not sufficient? Is it the feeling that they are getting out of the company? Are they feeling like they are not respected? Then the next step was implementation. So when I spoke to them, I understood how they feel. So I started with the most basic thing, which was medical camps. Then we did financial literacy camp, and just yesterday we celebrated yoga camps for them.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so the yoga was precisely not exactly the yoga we do. It was majorly like tailored just for them, because they sit for so long. They're not able to exactly take out like extra 1 hour the way we would just to meditate and stuff. So whatever is going to help them with their job, that stretch a little, do this asanas. This is going to help you. Something they'll feel comfortable. Okay, it's not taking time, but it's helping my health. The little helps, and I feel, oh, and we did the inauguration and stuff, that recognition of the best driver. As you said, you guys are already doing it. It's a beautiful feeling. And for me, I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. So in my mind, as soon as someone gets felicitated, I'm like, Talia. And then they're like, Arey, ma'am ne bola ab karna hai.
That is true. I think they just need to keep for them every day is not a great day. They may also
Yeah,
have dull days and someone who comes and
true,
sparks and just uplifts them.
true.
Trust me, their happiness sounds tenfold more than what we feel happy. They
Definitely.
take pleasure in the smallest things, and we
True.
may not even recognize those small things are like so big, right?
100%.
That is something which
And
we need to learn from them to how to celebrate small pleasures.
yeah, and I personally feel that it's a big privilege to at least get the opportunity to do something like this. I'm very grateful to my boss for him putting me in that spot, because, I studied abroad, I did my degree in logistics, and now I'm in India. So he's like, I know you expected a very happy go lucky, office life, but now you signed up for a sector, and again, you have to grow in this, you have to go on field and you have to experience this. In the start, I was not a fan. I can't lie. But at this point, I feel so proud. I feel that happiness when I make an impact on someone's life. Like direct impact I'm able to make. I see that smiles when I call them. They know me by name. They're like, "Arey ma'am, kaise ho aap? Aapka number humne save kar liya." And it's just so cute.
I know. It's just very overwhelming
Yeah.
when someone appreciates you for,
Yeah.
for the person you are,
Yeah.
then judging their judged by titles, right?
True.
That is very, very important. If you're judged by titles, then these people don't judge you. Wo- And at that point of time, you also feel ki this is how such a big change you can get in people's life.
Exactly. And I remember one of the drivers. So I have the habit of calling them sir only. I was like, sir, kaise ho aap? And it's just a normal thing that comes to me. I'll call you also ma'am and sir. That's the only two words that I play between. So he was like, after four questions, he's like, madam, sir, mat bolo na, aisa bahut alag
In fact, I
lagta
was going to tell you, please call me Reema, don't call me ma'am, because it sounds I'm very old.
No, it just feels very respectful. Like for him, he was like, "मैम आदत नहीं है." I was like, "होनी चाहिए sir. आप इतना मेहनत वाला काम कर रहे हो." I cannot imagine myself even sitting in the car. I get tired in the passenger princess wala seat. Imagine driving the whole day. They should get the respect that they deserve.
100%.
And
I'm with you there because I think small changes in every person's life you can get,
yeah,
and we can only change. We can do the best what we can from our end, and
true.
don't see what others do. If
Yeah.
it impacts few, also few can
Mm-hmm.
reach out to other few.
True.
Yeah, that's important.
You often talk about driver safety. I have read a lot of posts from you, but I want to understand it in detail. So, when we talk about driver safety, what is the most overlooked factor behind road accidents? The way the behavior comes off sometimes, the training. What exactly is the core reason why things go wrong?
Yeah, Aishi, you've asked me this question at such a lovely time, I must say this, because I used to, safety has a lot of aspects. Too many. Seatbelt pen low, drive in a certain way. There's training given to the drivers every time by whether be it OEMs, in-house training by transport companies like us. We also train them, maintain the temperature, make sure, uh, the goods you're carrying is carried safely, take care of the sensors, see when there's beeping, take care of the road, take care, don't brake very harsh, go on proper speed, drive on left. These all are very important, very, very important. But do you know what is the most important thing which I just realized? I was a part of I was invited by a forum, and and I was also surprised by my call at that point of time because I'd never spoken about this. And I started doing some research. And then I realized one of the most important factor first is eye care. How many people really know about this?
Mm. That is so important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when I was called, and then I realized there are few aspects where uh, do they do regular checkups on eye care? So as a
Yeah.
company, we all do eye
True. Yeah.
checkup, ear checkup, we do it. But on reality, do they really wear glasses when they are driving? We don't know yet. As much as so from our side, we have to keep telling them when they're training. The
Yeah.
first thing you have to tell them, क्योंकि अगर उनकी आंख ही ठीक नहीं होगी तो वो सीट बेल्ट भी पहन ले ब्रेक भी बराबर चला दे ओवर स्पीडिंग भी नहीं करे लेफ्ट में भी चला दे गुड्स का भी ध्यान रख दे सब कर ले if your
True.
eyesight is only not you diabetes है eyesight भी खराब हो सकती है there's so many factors and because they are on wheels all the time there are few
Yeah.
things they ignore some of them don't wear it as a taboo you'll be
True.
surprised because they feel oh it's not looking very cool oh what if people don't employ me there are chances that some of them would be thinking like that right
True.
oh because
Yeah.
I'm wearing specs it's not looking great and sometimes it's like okay you know what दूर का चश्मा है पास का चश्मा है are they
Yeah.
can they afford progressive classes
True.
so one I think the most important part of safety which I realized at that point of time and then I started talking about it I started writing about it was eye care is very, very, giving them financial literacy on IKEA is very
Very
important.
important.
And keeping on telling them, like every time when my Sarthi or driver actually goes out, I keep telling them, "Ab bhulna mat, you're carrying life-saving drugs, which is you're going to serve the whole world, nation, whatever, because you
Yeah.
are going to carry it by road, then it may get exported, or you're
True.
going to carry it from one place to another
Mhm.
domestically, and it's going to be consumed. It may be consumed by your family also tomorrow.
Definitely.
So please be very, very careful. To add on to it, if you have glasses, are you wearing it? And if you're not wearing it, why are you not wearing it? Please
Yeah.
wear it.
True.
If you, it's not, it, in fact, I think a lot of people now wear glasses, right?
Yeah.
Youngsters wear glasses to make themselves look
We
more matured.
exactly. That's literally what I was gonna say. That we have to try to look mature because if you look at me in person, you'll be like, oh my God, she's so tiny and she's so small. How am I gonna, think of her as a 22-year-old? You'd be like, nay, nay, she's just gonna be 16, 17. That's how tiny I look. So I did consider, wearing glasses, but then I was like, if I don't need it, why should I wear it? So I was like, we'll see, we'll figure it
What if
out
it
with
comes
time.
later? I have to wear it. So right now, let me be, I think so. I
Exactly.
think wearing glasses is cool. Leaving the taboo, if you leave the taboo behind, I think that is one of the most important aspects.
True.
Glasses. Then, of course, training them.
Mm-hmm.
Of so another thing which we also implement in our firm is every new recruit will will go along with a senior
Yeah.
driver when they
Mm-hmm.
are delivering the goods from one
Okay.
destination to another to see
True.
what all are the parameters, what route they are taking, how they have to, park the vehicle. So offline to training
Yes.
hota hai, online also the training happens. Like
Yeah.
online as an en
Yeah.
route bhi
Yeah.
hota hai. What
True.
I meant
Yeah.
is that they have to, and only when we are comfortable, that time a
Mm-hmm.
temperature-driven vehicle will be given to them.
Yeah.
Before that, they will of course be doing their other FTL and part
Yeah.
load vehicles they will drive. Only when
True.
we are comfortable, we are sure that they will
Yeah.
be meeting all the SOPs and all the compliances. That's the
Yeah.
time when they are giving a vehicle.
True. I would like to understand how, like, I'm convinced that for reefers, we go one step ahead. Then how exactly is it different from normal trucks? Like, what are the other added, requirements that you need to check before handing over the vehicle?
So before it goes to the customer, you have to ensure that the vehicle is already pre-cooled. मतलब, for example,
Uh-huh.
ये container आप जैसे AC के रूम में बैठते हो, there you have a remote control which tells you what the temperature is.
Yeah.
So same way, the driver in front of the dashboard, they have like a small cap
Yeah.
command which tells them what is the temperature behind in the container.
Behind.
And
Oh.
for example, if a vehicle is supposed to be at 15 to 25, there will be a set point put where the variation will be of the temperature in 15 to 25 degrees.
Yes.
Agar
Huh.
if the goods have to be carried in 15 to 25, then there's a set point done. And the set point varies as per season. Cold
True.
season may it will be set at a different point. In the
Mm.
hot season, it will be set at a different point to ensure the temperature is maintained. So
Yeah. And
that the vehicle has to be pre-cooled. Vehicle has to be parked in a certain way that the goods are loaded with one door shut and there are curtains. There are,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the
and then
plasticky
they load it,
ones.
yeah, the plastic
Yeah.
ones, which we also see in a lot of malls,
Yeah,
which,
yeah, that's
yeah,
the first thought in my head.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then they load the vehicle
yeah,
and it has to be very close to the darwaja. Even when they are parked, we seal the vehicle. There's a bottle
yeah.
seal, lock
Lock, yeah.
to ensure that no one can open it because you know
Mm,
how expensive pharmaceutical
true.
products are. And
Definitely.
so those parameters you have to check. The vehicle is
Mm,
pre-cooled. Pre-cool करके loading point पे जाएगा. Then you bottle seal and
yeah.
ensure during transit the temperature is maintained. The moment the driver will feel there is a variation means
Mm-hmm.
कुछ गड़बड़ है या तो AC का गड़बड़ है या तो दरवाजा खुला है.
True.
So these are few things which you have to keep training them. Also, we get
Definitely.
alerts when
Yeah.
there's a
Okay.
temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
Issue.
immediately
Yeah.
get to know. Because what
Mm,
happens when drivers are not well trained, there are chances, I'm not talking of our
yeah.
साथी, but
100%.
there
Yeah.
are chances है उन AC बंद कर देते हैं फ्यूल
Mm,
बचाने के लिए. तो अगर
yeah.
वहां पे टेम्परेचर वेरी कर देगा So
True.
you have to be
Yeah.
very careful. So when you're
Yeah.
carrying life-saving drugs, you have to be very, very careful.
Careful.
When you're
True.
carrying confectionery, I think whenever you're carrying any reefer load, you have to be very careful.
Very careful. True.
And you have to ensure all the compliance and SOPs are met.
For because it has reefers, they are reefers. Does your fuel value increase? Is it higher compared to normal trucks?
Yes, yes, yes. Of
You
course,
have to.
because
Yeah,
the reefer
definitely.
works on diesel. Yes,
And is it higher by a very high percentage or just some
it
percentage?
is. It is quite higher.
That was basically so. This is something I've been dealing with currently. The drivers never look you feel satisfied with the diesel quantity. So I wanted to understand ki, how does it work for your sector,
So
the pharma
we
side of it.
generally what typically every transporter does is they
Yeah.
have an average of a vehicle,
Okay.
which and on basis of that they calculate how much you have to give them
Diesel.
the diesel. Yeah, on
Yeah.
particular and they if it's willingly they will accept it because they know okay this vehicle generally gives this much average. तो उन
Uh,
लोग फिर वहां पे प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता है प्रॉब्लम
okay.
जब आता है जब बहुत मार्जिनल बड़ा सा डिफरेंस आ जाएगा
Yeah.
बड़ा डिफरेंस होगा दैट टाइम दे विल हैव अ प्रॉब्लम अदरवाइज दे वोंट
That. Okay. Perfect. That actually does. I actually am very surprised because this is the kind of information I didn't know about, that this is how the things work. So it's really amazing to learn different things. And leadership is definitely something that runs in your family. I'm convinced your father is an amazing leader, and now you are carrying the legacy beautifully. How do you feel that a leader grows more?
so couple of things recently a year and a half back I was appointed as a chairperson of a women wing. We are around 25 women entrepreneurs. You'd be surprised. And I can say I'm one of the few ones in
Yeah.
leadership role. Why? Because I was one of the few ones who had joined then, right?
Yeah.
But I think there were leaders who were not very outspoken.
Uh-huh.
I think now women leaders are coming out and talking about it. They're more vocal. You will see a lot
Yeah.
of social media presence of them. Of
Yeah.
course, shipping has much more, but road
Mm-hmm.
transportation, there are
The list.
comparatively much lesser.
Yeah.
Air may also you'll see a lot of leaders. Freight
Yeah.
forwarders, you'll see a lot of leaders. But in road transportation, still the number is less. But to
Mhm.
my surprise, I keep seeing numbers increasing.
Yeah.
And so, one, I feel leaders can never stop learning because if
True.
they stop learning, that means they're not leaders.
That's so
And
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, and I think leaders first have to accept they are students.
That is
If they,
such a
if
beautiful answer. Oh my God. I think
so,
after this also I'm gonna think, wow, did she actually said that? That's a
no, it is
statement
true.
that's gonna go in like your legacy.
So I think I never stopped learning.
Yeah.
Um, I learned a lot from, like I said, I had mentors everywhere. So they were my leaders. In of course, in road transportation, I have my father, Shokotari, all my people whom I worked with,
Yeah.
my dad's partner, Dilip Naik, my peers when I work, because there's everything I'm learning, right?
True.
The association people whom I worked with. Then I have a mentor also, Girish Mechandani, who encourages me to write. He was the first one who told me, go out and write. And I
Yeah.
started writing much later. So he has
True.
a magazine and a online channel on
Yeah.
YouTube. So he started interviewing. So I was very scared initially.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all of
True.
us at some point are scared to
Um,
go out there and talk,
Definitely.
right?
True.
But I think the more you write, the more you talk, the more you learn. I think it's very important is to give back to the society. So whether you're called a leader, then okay. But I think the core is make if you had a journey
Yeah.
where you had to learn, make other people's journey easier.
Better.
Which
True.
yeah, better because if you don't give back to the society, I don't think it is fair. It's
Yeah.
very,
And
very important.
I personally believe that it always, when you give something to the society, it comes to you twice. So when I started the podcast, my idea was simple. the amount of talking I enjoy doing, not everyone does, And at the same time, I don't feel that fear when I talk to even high level people. I feel ki, yeah, they are people who have done something. I want to talk to them for hours and hours so I can grasp as much as I can. But not everyone feels that way. So if I do this, other people who are not able to talk, they'll also learn. Why not? Let's do
So
it.
beautiful, honestly, because I think that is where I think now people are being more, you know, the problem with people is मुझे कोई judge कर रहा है. Why should
Yeah,
you get judged? And it's
true.
okay not to know. Like
Exactly.
I may be good at something that makes me a leader. No, I may not be good at everything, and that does not make me a leader, right? There will be few
Definitely.
places which I don't know. So I think every day is learning. Like every day is a new day when I
100%.
go to work and I realize, oh my God, ये नहीं मालूम है मुझे. Someone is
No.
discussing about something and I'm very happily I'll ask, ये क्या था? And then they'll be
Uh,
like, तुझे ये नहीं मालूम? I'm like, नहीं मालूम है, and I'm happy to know. It's okay. It's okay
yeah.
not to know, and it's okay, and it's not okay not to know and not to
Learn.
ask.
Yeah, that is so true. And it is so, so important to not just throw yourself somewhere. I
Yeah,
personally,
because
yeah,
people like it's okay if people judge. If it's okay if they think that she does not know. Like maybe next time someone will ask me that question, I'll have a better answer. One, I've
exactly.
interacted with people and I know much more, and
True.
I'll be inquisitive to know, and I'll go on Google and type, oh, what was this all about?
Exactly. And it's so important. Like the way I personally feel, I didn't realize it till now, but people start podcasting when they are at a level because experience brings a lot of confidence. I started podcasting with zero experience. I
Which is
literally went
great.
like, okay, I just started my master's. Within a week, I was like, I'll do this because I want to speak to people and understand how the sector is. And I'll just pull it off. It's okay. The
Which
max I'll
is
do is just
great.
fumble.
No, which is great because you realize when you realize that there's so much more which you can learn from people.
Definitely.
So I learn from every person. I'm sure like even when you talk to your Sathis, how they manage their life in spite of having such a that's something to learn from them. And still they look at you and they smile, even if they
Yeah.
are tired. You know?
The Voliana madam is so cute. I was honestly a little scared when I started calling, because it felt like a, telecom person ki I'm trying to sell something. But then I was like, sir, I'm calling because मुझे आपसे बात करनी है. I want to understand the sector more. And I used to make it very clear कि यार, I've just started this job. This is my first job. फिर you can start talking, so then they are also कि हाँ बेचारा छोटा सा, there's a child just trying to learn, so we'll also not get mad or something.
So people
And
have to
it's cute.
understand that the people
Yeah.
are not here to compete. The problem is
Yeah.
people
True.
get a lot into competition, right? Unfortunately, if you look at collaborating and working together and working for a better tomorrow and not be in the name of, oh, किसका नाम दिखेगा? I think that अगर वो निकल जाता है ना, that disparity goes away because everyone is good at something and everyone is a leader in every way, honestly.
Definitely, definitely. I personally love how a lot of times people teach me jugards. I was like, shit, this is so cool. So I actually met a friend. I went to her house just for a night stay, and she had just moved. So she had no stove, no geyser, nothing. And early morning, I was like, I feel very cold taking a shower with cold water. And I just looked at her because I was like, I don't know what to say also. The poor girl doesn't have. And she's like, तो चिंता मत कर. I was like, stove नहीं है, तो we can't warm the water in a kettle or something. We don't have a geyser. कैसे नहाएंगे? And
Uh,
then she was like, I have that kettle, the small kettle, and she managed it so beautifully. I was like, wow.
I'm just saying that. That's what I'm saying. Like when you see, the learning was छोटी चीज से मैं बड़ा मेरा प्रॉब्लम
Impact
सॉल्व हो गया.
100%. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And she has the most very organized clothing also. And I was like, I now understand you don't even have a iron. So how are your clothes so perfect? She's like, when they are wet, you just, I don't know what's the word for it, but you just I don't
झटकते
know.
हो
हाँ,
झटकते हो
झटकते हो so
हाँ
strongly that the crease goes away. And I was like, so till now your clothes
Wow.
have just been dried like that. She's like, yeah. I was like, so much things I did not know.
So that makes her a great leader there.
Definitely. She's insanely good with the jugards that she does. And I love her for that. Like, I'm like, you
So
teach me so
honestly,
much.
Ayushi, it's more about, see, like this is what you shared, right?
Yeah.
And I think sharing, working together, because people are really hungry for knowledge, and so am I hungry for knowledge, honestly, because
Same.
I think that can make a very big impact and get a very big change in the society. When people
Definitely.
realize there are two aspects. One is leadership is everyone is a leader, but let's walk together and not compete and be students at
Yeah.
every given point of time.
True.
And when you're walking, you may be great at something, be happy that
Yeah.
you're adding value and working for a bigger picture and not and the whole aspect of I nahi hona chahiye. It should always be we.
100%. I love one of the quotes which says, if you want to go far, walk together. If you
Of
want to go
course.
fast, walk alone, like run alone, And I'm like, that's actually so true. Akela insan kitna hi kar lega. You can't be good at everything, which is true. You can't.
So this takes me back to my media days and
True.
my one of my mentors always told me if I also did my target, for example, which target was given,
Yeah.
but the implementation is done by someone else. So
Mm-hmm.
today, if, for example, I get an account for my
Mm-hmm.
company, there's someone who's implementing it, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of planning, what rates we should offer, how we should do, how should we plan. There's someone
True.
technology wise, my Sarthi is
Mhm.
driving, he's carrying. It's a team effort. It is not my
100%.
effort. उनके बिना
Yeah.
तो मैं कर ही नहीं सकती थी मैं क्या बेच like what would I go and
Yeah.
say I'm into refer system okay you know what please give me business carry कैसे होगा audit कैसे होगा there's so it's
The
the whole
chain.
family which comes together to do one
True. Make it
one
fun.
one route is a whole family. There's a collaboration of so many people.
That is so true. And thank you for like making us aware of so many amazing leadership lessons today. I have my ultimate final question for you now. What is specifically two or three leadership lessons which you want our audience to know? Some young girls like me who are genuinely just entering the sector. What should we really, really remember?
Work on your forte and never, along with what your forte is, always be hungry to learn. Just because that's your forte, also be happy to learn more things. Don't restrict yourself
Yeah,
learning.
true.
Never, you may fall in your journey. And this is something which I tell everybody. Every failure teaches you something. So learn to lift
True.
yourself and don't sympathize with yourself saying, oh my God, I failed. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fall because that failure is also teaching you something. And you may
True.
fall with the same thing two or three times, but learn to
Yeah.
get up instead of giving up. So don't give up easily.
And failure teaches you how to be humble.
Exa- One teaches you how to be humble,
Yeah.
teaches you a solution, and
True.
teaches you a go getter. You don't give up. And of course, walk with people. Work, walk, have the attitude of we. Don't don't have arrogance, have more be more humble,
Yeah.
walk with people because you'll achieve much more. Great leaders are built
True.
together, they are not built alone. And
Definitely.
if this is a if and I'm telling you this is a perfect industry where you can
Mhm.
learn so much. It is so
Yeah.
challenging. Every day is a learning curve. So yes, these are a few things
True.
which come to my mind immediately.
And you have described everything so, so beautifully that I can't express it. I
Thank
just
you.
remember one of my podcast guests had said this to me, and this is stuck. Her name is Carolina. She said this. This is not a race, but a marathon. So you should take small, small steps together and you'll complete the marathon. If you are in that
Completely.
mood to be like, I'll win the race, then you're done.
No,
And
every step teaches you something.
Yeah.
Walking together teaches you something.
True.
Falling, there will always be someone who lifts you, but you
Yeah.
have to also understand, don't have arrogance to say, oh, this person is lifting you. Be
Yeah.
happy that there's someone who's lifting you and teaching you, even whether वो like you know हम हमेशा टीचर ने मारा, पर वो टीचर
Yeah.
मारती थी तब हम वो जाके समझते
सोचते
थे।
थे, समझते थे, हंड्रेड
हाँ,
परसेंट
याद रहता था ये मार लगा इसके लिए मुझे अभी ये तो याद रखना ही है। So there's always a
True.
learning, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel, at least this is personal experience, when someone who is senior to you, they might do things which really wouldn't make sense in this first go. But over the time, you'll be like, this person is literally the best for teaching me something at such a ground level.
So
Like
here I
personally,
will add on,
yeah.
there are so many times where I'm stuck in a situation
Yeah.
and I go to my dad and I ask him, and I then go to his partner and I ask him, and Ayushi, I'm amazed. They have the same thinking.
Yeah. It's
They
beautiful.
because they have partnership for 43 years, so they
Yeah.
will have the same bang on thing saying, and it may just be worded differently. If
Yeah.
I'm stuck and I'll go for, and sometimes I may feel, अरे यार क्या बोल रहे हैं? I want to do this and but then when I sit back and I think they make so much more sense. One, they have experience, they
Yeah.
have knowledge, and then I say, ha, they were right.
True. That is so true. And I personally feel, as you have said it, mentors are important. If you
Very important.
don't know, if you don't have someone to guide you, you'll feel very lost. You'll make much more mistakes than you would with him. And what's the harm in being guided, you
You
know?
know, in spirituality also they say have a guru.
Yeah, true.
When you have a guru, your journey becomes easier. If you don't have a guru and you just go along,
Wandering.
you wandering, you'll only keep wandering
True.
and you'll be everywhere instead of
Yeah,
being somewhere.
true. Thank you so much, Reema ma'am, for teaching us so many life lessons, sharing your journey, sharing your experiences with so much, I would say, without any filter. That's what I felt. Like you were so natural, so real. There was no filtering. There was no like, no, I have to, cover this part, not tell about this. You were so raw. And that's the beauty of speaking to you. Anytime we have spoken for so long that I've never understood कि यार time कहाँ चला गया. And I really love our conversations. And I'm sure today's episode has taught our audience way too much than they were looking forward to. They're like, oh my God, this is a proper fun-filled episode which had so much energy. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, people, please, we have one of the young podcasters. Encourage her so that she can learn more, she can converse more. Encourage her to get interview much more people so that she learns and her journey and her growth goes higher. And trust me, Ayushi, it was just not one way learning. I think I also learned a lot. Your examples also taught me like how you interacted with your drivers and something beautifully, which I also take back. I call them sir,
Yeah.
and how nice they felt. They felt important. So, yes, I'm going to take that from you for sure.
Thank you.
That it's so important to, you know, of course, I interact with them, I talk to them, I informally भी बात हो जाती है, पर ये एक respect का हो जाता है, small change, but thank you very much.
It's very sweet of you, and I feel so honored that you just picked something that I just said in the flow of the conversation. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of a leader, knowing how to pick which major points and take it home. So
Thank you
thank you
very, very
once
much.
again. Thank you.